Hey, what's up, guys? This is Jay from the JCast podcast, dropping another video for you guys. Something I want to discuss. Something that's always at the the forefront of a lot of discussions all the time, especially during the election season, is the topic of free healthcare, and the way it's named is so misleading. So the issue with free healthcare, just in general, is the same issue, at least initially, as free college, right? You're essentially not changing anything in the system. You're essentially just writing a blank check to the hospitals, to the doctors, to the colleges, institutions, right? So, number one, there's no such thing as free. It shouldn't be called free healthcare. It shouldn't be called free college. Well, I'm going to stick to the topic of healthcare, but it shouldn't be called free healthcare because it's not free. Somebody's paying for it, okay? And even if somebody wasn't paying for it, even if the taxpayers weren't paying for it, the doctors would still be, it'll still cost the doctor's time. There's no such thing as free in any aspect of anything unless they can heal you by touching you, right? Like Jesus Christ could have. And so the thing is, that's the first issue. The second issue is it should be called taxpayer funded healthcare, not free healthcare, because obviously it's funded by the taxpayers. When you're saying that something is free, you're given the illusion that nobody's paying for it. And people, as smart as they want to believe they are, will still think that it's free. And it's not free. The third thing is, the entire healthcare system, before you can make anything free, you have to find out, number one, how the healthcare system works. And nobody really knows how the healthcare system works outside of people who are in the healthcare system, right? Like the process of you going to the doctor, okay? They ask you for a checkup, or you ask them for a checkup. They do blood work on you and they do all that stuff. Then they send you a bill. But nobody asks, okay, why does this cost this much? Why does this cost this much? Why does this cost this much? Where is this being sent to? Nobody asks those questions in the system. That's just a regular checkup. When you go to the hospital, like an emergency room, like you want to make all that free without knowing why it costs that much. Before we make anything free, can we first at least, number one, try to find out why is everything expensive to begin with, number one? And number two, is it possible to find ways to cut costs? Like, if a mint, like I don't know how true the story is, but like a haul, like a mint, like a cough drop, the hospital charged like $500 for one cough drop or something like that. Like, how much of that is actually going on? You know what I mean? And that's just that, right? We're not even getting into the philosophical components of it, where it's all right, you revamped the entire system, okay? You made it very cheap or close to free as possible, okay? Or let's say you even made it free, where taxpayer funded. Let's say the taxpayers are paying for it now. You don't have to pay for anything. Well, now, the next question is, in a free healthcare system or taxpayer funded healthcare system that you don't have to pay anything directly out of pocket for, okay? Are you going to allow people to continue to have a lifestyle that can cause this system more stress, right? If you're a smoker, are people not going to be allowed to smoke anymore? If you like fast food, are you not going to be allowed to eat fast food anymore? Are you going to force people to do exercise? Are you going to force people into lifestyle changes so that they are not a burden to the healthcare system when the lifestyle that's not conducive to a healthy individual catches up with them, and now it's more expensive for the taxpayers? Are you going to make them make those lifestyle changes, right? How far do you take that? You tell them you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do this, right? Now, does the choice of my body, my choice now become a thing? And is it my body, my choice, and then my body, my choice, but you pay the consequences? You, the taxpayer, pays the consequences for it, right? Like, what do we do then? Do we force people to live a certain way? Like, at what point does taxpayer-funded healthcare start encroaching on people's individual freedoms? Now, I personally, I'm a healthy individual. I like to believe I'm a healthy individual. I exercise. I run. I eat healthy as I can. All that stuff. And even I would feel some type of way about that, right? Because you're essentially going to tell people, yeah, you get to, do you give them a chance to opt in or opt out? And if they have a chance to go into a private healthcare as opposed to a government funded healthcare or a taxpayer funded healthcare, is there going to be any of that around to compete with government? Because nobody can compete with the government. The government can literally operate at a loss for as long as they can continue to collect taxes. They can continue to operate at a loss if they continue to collect taxes and they continue to print money, right? So people think that the healthcare thing, free healthcare, what they call it, they think that that's just make it free. Oh, the taxpayer funded. Oh, just there's a million other things that go into that. And these are just the consequences that you've seen. We're not even discussing the unforeseen consequences that I can't even think of on the top of my head at the moment. Right? But these are just a few of them where you say, okay, it's taxpayer funded, right? We have to revamp the system. They're not going to do that, right? It'd be cool. It'd be interesting if you say, all right, you know what? You want to opt into a taxpayer funded system? Here's a fitness tracker. So we could at least track if you're doing any exercises, right? And if you're not doing any exercises, we're going to fine you. Okay, so now you're going to fine people for not, like, think about that. Think about what you're asking for when you're asking for government taxpayer funded healthcare. Because it's not just you get to go to a place and then you come out for free and screw the system. We don't care. We don't care what's operating behind the system. We don't know where that money's coming from, right? The government right now, as it is operating at a deficit, right? And that's just like a million other. And people want open borders, right? You're not able to have a generous system and open borders, right? A generous system that contributes that relies on taxpayers and open borders, right? And then the last thing I want to bring up is the current healthcare system as it is without being quote unquote free, taxpayer funded, is already, some people would say, overburdened, overstressed. What you're essentially gonna do if you make healthcare free, I'm not saying don't make it free. I'm not saying people shouldn't have access to healthcare. It's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm saying is, if you make this more accessible first without revamping the system, you're going to add more stress to the healthcare system that's already under stress as it is, right? A million things that people don't talk about when it comes time to talk about taxpayer funded healthcare. But let me know what you guys think. Comment, like, share, subscribe.